All right, hi, Bill. Thank you. This is Tom. One of the big things that's stifling business apparently in this state is, not to mention personal budgets, is energy costs, which are about to get worse, I guess. Do you see anything from the legislative standpoint we can do, or any opinions about what should be done as far as the PUC and regulations and the whole entwined system that we have right now, which seems to be one of the reasons why the costs are so high, and against some neighboring states which are lower? Your opinion on that?
So there's a whole bunch of things we can do. Some of which are, initially somewhat symbolic. Get rid of RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. We ought to do that. Get rid of the renewable portfolio, resource portfolio. We shouldn't be subsidizing windmills that can't make it in the free market, or wind generators that can't make it in the free market. We shouldn't be subsidizing biomass plants that can't survive in the free market. We ought to be bringing transmission lines into the state, allowing them to come in. I went up to Montreal to meet with Hydro-Quebec when I was first speaker last time. They had actually invited me to bring about 20 representatives up to talk about businesses between New Hampshire and Quebec. It turned out that this was their introduction of Northern Pass. I believe then what I believe now about Northern Pass, that we should not get into a situation that California's in, where they don't build any transmission lines, they don't have any new generating capacity. We've got to avoid that. But it's fair to ask Hydro-Quebec to bring it in an environmentally sensitive manner, whether it's going down median strips or whatever. That's one issue that we discussed with them then. The second issue we discussed with them then is that if you're going to run these power lines through New Hampshire, you have to be offering the power to New Hampshire citizens, because they're just running it down to the Boston marketplace. Now, I know it's a large marketplace, but if folks are sacrificing, then you have to give them an incentive to do that. So that's another thing. And then there's a third thing that just never came up, and I've been really surprised, because it was one of the initial questions I asked them. I said, Hydro-Quebec is a provincial agency of the government of Quebec. I said, is there a law that says if you're running low in power, you cut off the power going outside the province first? And they hedged and everything, and I said, well, let me put it this way. If you need air conditioning in Montreal, and you don't have enough power to send to incubators in Laconia, do the incubators go down? And they said, well, that's kind of harsh. Well, yeah, we have to provide 100% to Quebec before we go anywhere else with the power. And I said, so now you have to work with us on that. I said, that's another area you have to work with. But that being the case, we ought to be inviting more energy. Our wonderful lifestyle, our prosperity in this country has come through availability of energy, and we ought to take every opportunity we can to lower energy costs. Another issue that's developing is trying to bring some gas lines up from the Boston metropolitan area, the pipelines, yeah. Because, as you're aware, it spiked last winter. We ought to, as a legislature, we ought to be doing everything we can to promote that. I'm not terribly sympathetic, I have to tell you, to the movement I see as I go through Brookline and Hollis, and to people saying that, we don't want a pipeline here. There's pipelines everywhere. We don't even know where they are. They are not environmentally destructive, and yet they allow us to be warm in the wintertime and to live the lives we do. So we really have to, I think, promote that in every way we can.
And that's really just an extension of an existing pipeline, too. It's not like a brand new.
It is, yeah, that one that goes along the northern border of Massachusetts.
Right.
So we have to avoid the temptation that we all have to engage in NIMBYism. If NIMBYism allows us to do things in a quality manner, that's fine, but we just can't say not in my backyard. We have to understand that New Hampshire and all economies grow on energy. Let's have energy available.
Croc TV.